always get the same question. Of course, I always have the same answer. So if you ask me, why Budapest? Why Hungary? My response will always be, why not? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Precious, and if you're just joining me, welcome. This is Precious Iberian's lifestyle, health, beauty, wellness channel. But I also share a lot about the things I learned living in Hungary, Budapest. So if that's something you're interested in, please stay with me. Remember to subscribe, like, share, leave me a comment, or get in touch some kind of way. Okay, so back to today's topic. As you guys can see from the title of today's video, I'm sharing 6 things that I've learned living in Hungary, Budapest for 6 years. Little story time. Recently, I just celebrated my 6th year anniversary of living in Hungary, Budapest, actually on the 1st of June. Yes, so it's like just a few days ago. And this got me thinking and just, going back over the time I've spent here, what I've learned, how I've grown, how I've changed, developed, and, habits that I've had to let go of and other habits that I've had to improve on. And I thought I should make this video with just 6 major items, or some of them, that I think that moving abroad and living in Hungary, Budapest, has helped me develop in. So if you're interested in finding out what these 6 things are, then stay tuned with me until the end of the video. Okay, so I actually made a list on the phone just so I can read out exactly what I wrote. So the first thing that I've learned living in Hungary or living abroad is how to be self-sufficient, right? And I think that for me, the whole idea of self-sufficiency would not be a complete package if I never left home and came abroad. So in the sense that you could live anywhere, you could be next to your home, you could be next to family, you could be, I don't know, 2 streets away. But it's a lot different when you move abroad or somewhere else where you don't have family, you barely have friends, you don't know anybody, you don't speak the language. It teaches you a lot of things. It pushes you, and then you find you can now tell what's your limits, or like how far in life you can go. The second thing that living abroad in Hungary has taught me is budgeting and planning. This hits differently, guys. If you ever lived outside by yourself, if you ever lived on your own and you do not know how to budget, you don't know how to plan, especially because you live off of your salary or off of, even if you live off an allowance, if you're not able to budget and plan, you will suffer. So one thing I've had to learn how to do a lot while living here is budgeting and planning. Like, I have to remember that when you make money or when you earn money, you have to do certain things first, like pay rent, utility, put out something for savings, do all of these things before you start considering, okay, I need to go shopping, I need to go here and there. So if I run out of my budget for a certain thing, I know I cannot do it anymore until the next month. And it's that serious. The third thing I've learned while living abroad in Hungary is how to value small things. I'm not saying small things in terms of the size of the thing, but I mean in terms of the actions, or maybe also the size matters, but not necessarily like an item. So it doesn't have to be something tangible, right? I just learned how to appreciate that friend who checks up on you, or that person who takes time to do something for you when they're not obliged to do it. And, really small gestures like this, I started to appreciate even more, because I'm away from family. You don't necessarily have that person, that sister, that brother who you can just run to. So when you find complete strangers who take their time to actually help you, you appreciate it even more. And being out here, I've learned to just be appreciative and show gratitude for these kind of things. Now, the fourth thing I've learned to do even further while living here is knowing the difference between friends and acquaintances, and also knowing how to say no. This hits differently, guys. Like, when I first arrived here, I know how much pressure it was that I had to not keep up appearance, but maintain a certain phase, like all is all right, even though I wasn't feeling comfortable with certain things. I was just going with the flow half the time. I was on autopilot for some cases. Of course, some people back at home as well will reach out to you unnecessarily because they feel like, oh, you're abroad now, so you should be able to do certain things for them. And I just didn't know how to say no, right? And you get to realize later, like, look, not everyone you were calling friend is actually a friend. People can just remain as acquaintances. And I learned it even further as I started to live here longer. So now I say no when it's necessary. I know when to avoid unnecessary people who just put me in a certain place where I don't want to be, where I'm feeling stressed, where I don't feel welcomed. I know how to use the word friend now, really, because you know me, because we sat together in a certain place, or we work together in a certain place, or we have a mutual friend, doesn't necessarily mean that we're friends. So I've learned living here by myself how to differentiate these things and not have too much expectations of people, because that's the only way I can avoid being disappointed, and also not putting so much pressure on myself that I have to fulfill other people's expectations. I think I wouldn't have gotten to this point if I was still living under the same roof with my parents, with my family, and being in the same circle of people that I grew up with. So Hungary helped me. The fifth thing that I've learned a lot about while living here in Hungary, abroad, is the value of vocational skills. So coming from a person who's coming from Nigeria, from Africa, where it's so easy to go in a place and start to learn a skill, and most of the skills are readily available. For example, we make our hair back at home every 2 weeks, and it's really easy. You just walk in the salon, you sit there, you don't even need a prior appointment. Unlike in Hungary, before you can get in the salon, you need an appointment. Sometimes it takes 2 months, sometimes more, sometimes less. You need to inform them, you need to book that down for whatever thing you need to do, right? There's not so many options of a walk-in, right? So that already tells me that there's not many people that are skilled to do certain things here. And you start to appreciate the value of vocational skills and trainings that are readily available back at home. So like, you can have a cobbler in the next street, you can have a seamstress, just down the road, you can have a plumber really literally behind your house, or anything. Like, the things are there, they're readily available. And also valuing the fact that you can learn the skills so easily back at home in Nigeria, and you will become a multimillionaire abroad with just that small skill that is almost dismissible in Nigeria because it's there, like, it's always there. So I started to appreciate and value those who actually took out time to learn a skill, to learn something before moving abroad. And this is maybe a tip for the others who are looking at me or watching this video and trying to move somewhere. I think that you should learn a skill. If you haven't started, start now. Just go ahead, start learning something. So for the Nigerians watching me, if you are on the Jackpot move, or you're planning that, I think that you should start learning something. It doesn't matter how small. You can learn makeup, be a nail tech, you could be a tailor, you could be a cobbler, you could be anything really, a stylist, something, because when you get out here, that might just be the skill that will save you on a rainy day, because it's not necessarily always available. And if it is, it's not available and geared towards people of color. So that means that if you come here as a black person with a skill, you will most likely dominate the market of the black people. Because, for example, I can't take my 4C hair into a salon in Hungary because they won't be able to handle it. But if I have someone from Nigeria or from Africa who knows how to do this, then you already know that person's going to be a star. I'm literally going to be in and out of your shop every other day. So learn a skill, start to do something now. It will come in handy. And I learned how to appreciate those who actually have vocational skill trainings as well. And finally, one last thing that Hungary or living here in Hungary has helped me learn more about or even develop is cultural awareness. So if you've ever visited Hungary, Budapest, you know that most of them are very cultural people in the sense that they still try to keep their heritage, they keep the history. You still have the old buildings. You can go into the museums and see how it used to be in Hungary. And of course, there's a whole lot of things that the modern day Hungarian person does that is still very ancient. Maybe not ancient, but I mean, okay, for example, let's talk about the pessimism, right? The typical Hungarian person with how I've experienced it and also with what I was told is they're very pessimistic, so they just complain about things unnecessarily. I think this was a culture. This was a culture that they had from long time ago that is still within the people even till today. I think even for those who don't want to be like that, because they talk about it, somehow they just find themselves doing it. So you talk about something with an average Hungarian person, and they tell you all the many problems associated with it instead of how that's an amazing thing to do, right? I experienced this when I was trying to do my driving license and all that here, but I think this is just the culture. And coming from Nigeria, where there is a lot of cultures, like there's a lot of different people, diversity, and one state to another might not be practicing the same thing. This just added to how much awareness I have about the different people and their cultures. And that's why I say for me, Hungary kind of helps me learn more about this. Like I can now take in much more than I could in the beginning. Like when I first got here, there was a lot of culture shocks. Like, oh my God, do these people do this like that? Oh my goodness, there's so many people on the street. Oh my goodness, they're so quiet. They're so like there was always something, right? But all of these cultural shocks and all of these different things that I found different from where I was coming from kind of helped me grow out of a certain place, right? So I'm not typically that person now who would walk around and be like, oh, Hungarians are so quiet. Actually, I've become quiet. Like I go home to Nigeria and I feel like everything is noisy. Like, oh my God, what's happening? So I've kind of like taken some part of the Hungarian culture and created a blend of something. So far so good. My 6 years has been great in Hungary. I think I have moved from where I used to be. I don't have regrets living here. I think that it was a good decision. Again, I didn't overthink when I was going to move to Hungary. So every time I get that question again, why Hungary? I still give the same answer. Why not? But to be honest, I didn't think too much about it. I just wanted to go somewhere, do an internship, and try to do some things that could help my business that I had back at home in Nigeria. And I got the job or the internship here in Hungary and I accepted. And so here I am. It was 1 year internship. 6 years later, we're still here. So really, it's been a fun ride. But for my 6th year anniversary, I'm going to be sharing a lot more about my time here in Hungary. So this is a video telling you 6 things I have learned or have developed further living in Hungary for 6 years. But I'm going to make other videos to tell you maybe the 6 things I love about Hungary, the 6 things I love about Budapest, maybe also the 6 things I hate about Budapest or Hungary. Watch out for that one because it won't be fair if I don't tell you the things I hate. There's always going to be those things, right? And yeah, if you want to see these other videos, then please just subscribe to the channel and you will be notified. If you click the notification bell or something, you'll be told when I post the videos for the other topics that I will be talking about. But yes, in this month of June, I will try my best to share as much information as I can from my experience 6 years in Hungary. Thank you so much for watching this, and I'll see you all in my next video.